Alright, now that you know your way around the command window, let's move on to the editor window. So the editor window is where you write permanent multi-line programs called scripts that you can save, reuse, and run over and over again. To pull up the editor window, you simply click on the new script button in the top left corner over here. And there you go, a new editor window pops up. So before we write any code, let's talk about some essential shortcuts. So the first would be the Ctrl plus Enter, which will run your current section. Next is F5, or the green run button at the top here. Next is Tab, which auto-completes variable and function names. And lastly is the up arrow that we learned in the command window. Alright, so what is actually a script? A script is simply a text file ending in .m containing a sequence of commands executed from top to bottom. As you go into script, there's one important function that we need to learn. First is the %. So by writing a %, right, it's used to write comments, basically notes to yourself or explanations, that Matlab completely ignores when running code. It's also used in formatting text outputs. For example, if I wanted to write x equals to 10, and I press Ctrl and Enter, you can see in the command window is x equals to 10. And if I added a % sign at the x at the back, commenting that x is part of data set B, and I run that code again, it only shows that x equals to 10, and it omits anything that is in the %. Yeah. So the next one is the double % sign. This one is used for sectioning. So basically, instead of running a massive file every time you change one word, the double % breaks your file into manageable blocks called sections, so you can run each block independently. Alright, let's see an example of sectioning by storing and printing variables step by step. So in the first section, we open with the double percentage and call it section 1, store and print x. So I store x as a variable with the value of 10, and then I display x. And the second section, I put double percentage again to start off the section, and I store and print y. Alright, so if I run this, you can see that it gives me 10 and 20. But if you click your mouse anywhere inside section 1 and press Ctrl and Enter, you can see it only runs the first section. I can do the same for section 2. I click in section 2 and press Ctrl and Enter, and it only runs section 2. So this is pretty useful if your code is maybe 500 lines long and you only want to run one section without causing your computer to light on fire or something like that. Yeah. But if you ever want to run the entire script, just press the run button. Alright, earlier you've seen that we've managed to display variables, basically by using the function display. Right. And if I run this code, right, it will display the variable. But the problem comes when we're trying to display both a string and a number in the same row. So for example, if I did something like this, I want to display hello, I am Aaron, and my GPA is 4.83. If I run this code, you can see that it doesn't really work, because you cannot display both a string and a number in the same function, because there are two different types of variables. So how you could bypass this is doing something like this. Basically, I display the string first and then the variable at the end. And if I run this code, it will work. But as you can see, it's a bit messy, with the 4.83 being on a different line as what I've written my string on. Alright, so to bypass this, we can use a different function called fprint. Alright, fprint is a literally just a more powerful function. Not only can it display your string and your numbers on the same line, it also can format that. So for example, I call for the function fprint over here, and I just open the bracket and hello, I am. So this %s would call for a string, and it's linked to the student name here. So you'll go to the student name and find a string, which is Aaron, and then my GPA is %.1f/n. Alright, so the 0.1 is basically mean that I would format it to only one decimal place, and f means to search for a floating number in GPA, which is 4.83. And if I run this, right, you can see, hello, I'm Aaron and my GPA is 4.8. So it rounds it for you. So this is a very powerful way of kind of, basically it's a more powerful display function. Yep.